We talked previously about implied truth values for different types. So most of the built-in types have a truth value associated with the value. We saw that with the bool constructor. Let's review some of these truth values for integers, floats, the none-type strings, and lists. So if you recall, if you take the bool constructor and you pass it in, say the number 0, it will return as false. So Python treats 0 as false. Any other number, doesn't matter, it could be 334, could be 0.123, could be negative 99. Everything else is true. Now for the value none in Python, remember this is a singleton, so there are no other values in the none type other than none. We'll evaluate as false. For strings, an empty string gets evaluated as false, like this. Any other string, whether it's one character or more, or just a single space, does get evaluated as true. Same thing with lists. An empty list, which is created with just these square brackets. So this is a 0-item list right here. And the truth value of it is false. If we have any other values in here, it will be true. So what this means with an if-else statement is that you can actually just place any value in here, one of these values specifically, I should say, and Python will treat it, will get the implied truth value, and we'll just print out the word like this. So here is 5. So it says if 5. It's like makes no sense. What do you mean if 5? Well, what Python does is it says, well, I'm going to evaluate what 5 is, just like I do so in the with using the bool constructor. Okay, it's true, so that means this statement will get executed, and we can print true like this. If we say if 0, well, that's not true. That's false. So this condition is false, which means this branch will run like that. So same thing with everything else. If I say if none, none is false, so it'll run this branch. Same thing with the strings. So if I have an empty string, it'll be false. If I have anything else, it'll be treated as true. And then the same thing for lists. If I have an empty list over here, it's false. And everything else, forgot a comma right here, is true. So you will see this in Python. Sometimes you just want to, you'll see this later on when we get further along in the course, but this is just sort of a preview of what's to come. You know, sometimes we'll have some variable, and there may or may not be any items in that list, for instance. And sometimes we just want to check if there are items in the list. And maybe I can make it a little bit more descriptive. So if A here is a list of 3 items, it just says, okay, there are items in the list. Otherwise, we're going to print an empty list. Let's make A an empty list, and it'll print out an empty list. So this is a common thing in Python. It looks really bizarre when you first see it, like that can't be a condition. Well, Python will take whatever you give it and try to get some truth value from it. Not all types have a truth value, but many of them do. Okay, so that's how you can work with conditional statements using these implied truth values.